So thank you very much. Lovely to meet you all. My name's Bryony. I'm Head of Strategy and Partnerships up for Yorkshire. And for the last few years, we've been running a programme called Our Zero Selby. So I'm just going to sort of really just talk a little bit about how the programme came about and the kind of principles underpinning it and give you a bit of an update on where we are now. It's very much a work in progress project, but hopefully one with lots of potential for the future. So Our Zero Selby really started in 2021. Up for Yorkshire was approached by Forum for the Future, which is a national sustainability NGO, and Involve, who are a public participation charity. And they had developed a project and had funding to back it up, to explore what a community-led approach to a just transition to net zero would look like. So they were looking for a number of communities across England, relatively small towns with a sort of diverse population and sort of economic mix, but also places where they felt there was risks and opportunities in terms of a just transition. So Selby met their criteria in terms of size and the sort of demographics, but also with our kind of industrial heritage and Drax on the doorstep, felt like it was a really good location to try something out. And to be fair, when the project started, we weren't really sure what to expect. Climate change wasn't generally something that came up in our community development work in Selby. But we knew that all the issues that interconnect with climate change and sustainability mattered to people in our communities. So I thought I would just start with a little video which captures the first phase of Our Zero Selby, tells you a little bit about how it came about, and then I'll carry on the story. So fingers crossed you can hear the audio as well. If it doesn't click straight on, Kate, the YouTube link is just in the notes below, but hopefully it'll work. So we can't hear.
Part of a national project that local people take the lead on what a climate.
You can't hear it.
I know we can, it's just a bit buffering. We'll try it and see if it works.
Yeah, just shout if it doesn't.
A friendly future should look like. Over the last 12 months, we have worked with over 550 residents in Selby, Brayton, Balby and Thorpe Willoughby. Through workshops and surveys on our 5 topics, we have heard the needs and the hopes of our community with ideas to reduce Selby's carbon emissions. The decision-making events brought together 40 local people reflective of the population with stakeholders to look at what everyone said.
I decided to come because I am really interested in environmentalism in general, and also I really like the Selby area and want to see it improve. And yeah, I have learned a lot about different people in the community.
I think taking part in an event like this really broadens your mind. I think sitting with people that you've never met before from all different walks of life gives you everybody else's input, what's important to them as well. So it allows you to think outside of your own safety zone, if you like, and take other people's considerations in when you're making decisions.
It's been absolutely fascinating because I've learned so much. Some things that I am amazed by, such as being able to get energy and heat from rivers and from the mines, and how we can use what we've already got and make it better. So it's been really worthwhile, and I feel like I'm better informed.
I guess one of the things that I have learned is just the level of interest, of commitment that there is out there, and the willingness to learn more and to work collaboratively and to work together.
It's sort of surprised me how, you know, we can have these discussions and people can have different opinions, but actually people can come together and agree on a way forward with some really positive actions.
I'm never surprised by the people of Selby because we're so driven
by wanting to make a difference, wanting to make a positive change that helps and enables everybody. It's been brilliant.
They developed a vision for Selby's future with 25 project ideas for how to make it a reality. Some big, some small, but all decided by our community, for our future, for our climate. The Our Zero Selby story is just beginning. Let's turn those ideas into action. So check out our website, ourzeroselby.org.uk, and get involved.
Thanks, Kate. I think what that first phase of Our Zero Selby really allowed us to do, and it felt like a bit of a luxury really, was to invest a lot of time up front on community engagement. So you might have sort of picked up at the beginning of that presentation that we spoke to over 500 people in the first sort of 6 months of the programme. We ran workshops, we attended groups, we had surveys. It was a lot of outreach to really try and understand what issues were important to local residents. And we were very aware of a lot of the language barriers that sort of wrap around issues of sustainability and climate change. And so we broke the programme down into sort of five themes that were referred to there. And they were all issues that we felt everybody could connect to in their everyday lives. So we talked about food, we talked about the buildings that people live in and work in, open spaces, the way that we travel and what we buy and waste. And we certainly found that that really enabled people to think about the issues in relation to their own lives. And we, in that first phase, captured lots and lots and lots of ideas, and they were all taken to that 3-day decision-making event that was outlined, where we had actually, and this was kind of one of the benefits of working with Involve, who as an organisation do a lot of participatory democracy and sort of the citizen-led juries and things. So they helped us recruit a group representative of Selby to participate in that event, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I think we were all blown away, those of us that were involved. You know, we had 40 plus residents, 15 stakeholders, full 3 days of attendance, really exploring what these ideas could look like and learning about climate change. But I think most importantly, thinking about if residents are involved in local decision making, we can make changes that improve our environment and that help to tackle climate change, but actually they deliver a whole raft of other benefits that are important to our local communities. So we talked a lot about the co-benefits, you know, what health benefits or local economic benefits or wider environmental benefits can particular actions deliver if residents actually get a say in how they're involved. Kate, would you mind just going on to the next slide? Thank you. So we ended the first phase of the programme on a real high. We had this community mandate for this portfolio of 25 projects, and as the film said, they were really, really varied. Some of them were really quite small community scale projects, right up to kind of your multi-million pound, multi-stakeholder infrastructure projects. And as I say, all chosen by the residents because of the benefits that they could bring to the local community. And then we had the kind of the standard challenge where we didn't have any money left, but we knew there was real kind of appetite and excitement and a real opportunity to carry on working with stakeholders as well as residents. So it took us a while, but we were really fortunate to get National Lottery Reaching Communities funding to take the project forward into what I've called phase 2, but essentially turning ideas into action. And my not so beautiful slide with some nice little shapes on, I think I've tried to sort of capture what that really meant. So we had this amazing community mandate, we had some really invested partners, and the lottery funding brought us in kind of community development capacity. And we knew that was key because yes, there is, not always, but there's often grant funding available for projects, but actually we really wanted to build up local capacity for long-term change and raise awareness of the issue so that residents felt that they could continue to make some of these changes and deliver change in their communities beyond the lifetime of the programme. We knew that capacity building was key, we knew that awareness raising was key, and we knew that demonstrating impact was key. But it absolutely hasn't been without its challenges. I think turning those ideas into action is a massive step up, and actually translating people's curiosity and interest into commitment to do things is also a really big challenge. So there's definitely that piece around sort of behaviour change and inspiring action, and we knew that we needed to secure funding for individual projects, even though we'd secured funding for the programme overall. And you know, Up for Yorkshire is an enabling organisation. We knew that we didn't want to be held with 5-10 fledgling projects with the challenges of financial sustainability. We really wanted to use this opportunity to build from the grassroots up, enable residents to influence decisions made by others, but also to sort of have the capacity to take things forward. Kate, would you go on to my next slide? I mentioned about this kind of community-led ethos, and I think this, for us, is one of the things that differentiates Our Zero Selby potentially to a more traditional community development project or to other projects similar. We wanted to make sure that not only were we creating lots of opportunities for people to get involved in sort of more standard ways like volunteering or coming to events or you know, taking up training, but we wanted people to have a voice in the design and the delivery and the governance of the programme. So yes, we have a really fantastic group of stakeholders who are part of a sort of steering group or impact team, as we call them, but we've also set up a citizen governance group. So this is a new group of residents and they're just brought together because they are residents. They haven't needed to come with any prior knowledge or you know, expertise. Yes, they're all interested because they put themselves forward, but that wasn't a requirement. They've just come to us because they are residents, and that's they're the perspectives that we really want. And so the role is, as I say, is really about on the direction and the progress of the overall Our Zero Selby programme. And we've had our first meeting in September, maybe September, October, which was brilliant, really good. And yes, there were a couple of people that were involved in the first phase of Our Zero Selby, but actually there's new people coming through all the time. And we've talked about some of the challenges of kind of communication and the limitations of social media and the importance of getting out there. And I think I'd concur with all of that. It's a big town, it's a big project, but actually ongoing communication and outreach is absolutely key. Kate, would you mind going on? Thank you. So without sort of, please don't expect to read that. I wanted to give you a flavour of the kinds of things that we've done. Inevitably, we've started where the energy is. I think, you know, as I say, we had this portfolio of 25 projects, but we also wanted to be really pragmatic. It's all about fostering local interest. So we've started with the things that people have really shown an interest in and have kind of put their hands up for, essentially, and where we know that we can really help make a difference to have hopefully some relatively quick impacts as a way of drawing more people in. So I just talked through a few of them just to give you a flavour of what it's like at the moment. So it was really interesting to hear the first presentation, because we did secure some funding to deliver a programme of pop-up repair cafes and to explore the feasibility of a library of things for Selby. So these were two projects that were really popular in the first phase. And I think have a lot of potential for Selby. And it's been really interesting, though, to kind of explore some of the stigmas or perceptions around repair and reuse, and to really think about the kind of the way in which we engage individuals and the messages that go with them. So we've had some really successful bike repair sessions, for example, and really unsuccessful textile repair sessions. We've had some amazing volunteers, but actually, what is it that makes people come through the doors, and how is it that they want to connect with a project like this? we have been working with Kate on this course to help kind of raise awareness and in confidence in understanding climate change and its relation to our everyday lives. As I say, we've done quite a lot of work around cycling and bike repairs, and actually that's been one of our quick wins really, bringing together a group of committed cyclists who have started running guided social rides, and actually are forming a small group to continue to take that forward beyond the lifetime of Our Zero Selby. So actually for a community where that didn't really exist, it's been really good to be able to talk not only about the importance of active travel and reducing car use, but actually all the other benefits that could come from cycling in terms of social connections and physical health. We were really inspired by a talk that we heard by Sarah Corbett, who has developed this approach called craftivism, all around the gentle art of protest. So using craft to talk about issues that are important to us in our lives and to create change in our communities. So we've been exploring our relationship with environmental issues through craft, bringing different groups together who might not come together to talk about climate change, but actually they do want to come together to make something and have conversations around what's important in their neighbourhoods. And it gives us the opportunity to talk about a whole range of things connected to sustainability that you wouldn't necessarily think of. We've been working with Selby Town Council. We've got a few new sites for some tree planting in Selby Town and on Leeds Road, and working with groundwork to identify the right kind of species that can bring in biodiversity and pull together groups of residents to get involved in planting and looking after the trees longer term. We're working with another local organisation called Project Wild, CIC, delivering a whole range of kind of conservation-based projects with young people, with a particular project at Brayton where Up for Yorkshire runs a community centre. We've got involved in the North Yorkshire Now Then cultural programme. They were really keen to bring an environmental arts project into their cultural office. So I've been working with Selby Abbey and residents, getting residents involved in commissioning art, but art around environmental issues. It's been a brilliant opportunity to, it's all around repair and reuse and how to raise awareness of the amount of waste essentially that we have in our communities. We have launched a digital amnesty of community furniture stores, trying to tackle digital waste and repurposing unwanted IT items. We've started a community composting scheme with another organisation called Compost It. Staggeringly, who knew there was a shortage of large-scale garden tumblers? We had to wait 7 months for anywhere in the UK to deliver large-scale tumblers, but we now have 3 in Selby. We had our order in long enough to get our hands on them. So real opportunity to have some communal composting and talk about composting, but hopefully over time build that into more localised home composting. Earlier this week, we had our first Zero Heroes awareness raising and sort of activity session. Right from the start, actually, people were really upfront about wanting to learn more. And I think that was one of the things that we were so inspired by, really, is appetite to learn more and have fun whilst doing it. So we're putting together a whole programme of events on a range of different topics that you can drop in and drop out on depending on your interest. And our first one this week was all around recycling. And I have to say, I learnt a lot about what I can and can't recycle. And as the presenters called it, wish recycling. Things you think are recyclable and you wish were, so you put in your green bin, they're actually not. Things like a pizza box that's had a pizza in is too greasy to be recycled. That was my top bit of learning from this week. Obviously, as the host of Our Zero Selby, Up for Yorkshire is also looking at what we can do as an organisation to improve our own environmental and sustainability credentials. And finally, in this whistle stop tour, it's nearly Christmas. We love Christmas at Up for Yorkshire. So to coincide with our Brayton Christmas fair, on the 15th of December, we're having a whole sustainable Christmas push. So we've got a big comms campaign going out at the moment. We're going to have some stalls and events at the Christmas fair, and on our website there's a sustainable Christmas toolkit. So we've been really trying to find different platforms and ways to engage with people, regardless really of their sort of motivations or their prior level of knowledge or interest. Kate, just go on. So I thought it was just worth kind of, just before I finish, just sort of talking about I guess the learning that we're capturing, and this is where it's been really great to continue working with Forum and Involve, who are really supporting us on the monitoring and evaluation, which can often be really tricky as a delivery organisation, having the time, capacity and funding for it, because we know it's tricky. I think this is the other thing, you know, this programme is about, it's about carbon and it's about tackling climate change, but it's about a lot more than that in terms of the sort of the social impact potentially of the programme. So we're doing a bit of a midway review at the moment. Kate and Chris, who've seen that film many times, will be delighted to know there will be a new film in the new year which captures kind of what we've been working on to date and the impact so far. And we're really trying to plug into some of the national dissemination networks that Forum and Involve are part of, not only to sort of inform our approach, but also to share and be really transparent about what's worked well and what's worked less well, and to connect with other organisations doing something similar. In terms of what's next, it's all about bringing more people in, really. We know there's so many more people we can be having conversations with and encouraging to be part of Our Zero Selby. And yes, we've got some relatively small scale projects off the ground, but we would really love over the course of the next year to have an impact on a larger scale infrastructure project, either one that we initiate ourselves with partners or one that is led by other organisations, but we really enable residents to have a voice in that from the beginning. So we're fortunate, we've got some really good relationships with North Yorkshire Council and other large stakeholders, looking at how we can bring resident voice into that decision-making process and demonstrate that their outcomes will be better achieved by having residents involved. And legacy, it's all about legacy. And I think this is the thing about grants. We know the grants will only last so long. So it's really about embedding the change that we've been able to initiate so that we can be confident that regardless of the grant future, some of these projects and initiatives and the learning that people have acquired, or the things that they've been inspired to do, can continue beyond the lifetime of Our Zero Selby. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an overview. I think that's my last slide. Is it, Kate? Oh yeah, that's just some nice pretty pictures, because we all love a picture, just to give you an idea of some of the things that what we've done over the last year. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bryony. That was great. And as you would have noticed from the video, we've sort of been involved with Our Zero Selby from the start. It's been really exciting to have that sort of project. Well, I think they chose a couple of towns, didn't they, to start with, and for one of them to be Selby was brilliant, great opportunity. And it's just running through all those sort of projects. There's a lot going on, so thank you for sharing that today. Has anyone got any questions for Bryony? Yes, Richard.
Sort of following on from what you just said, there is just so much going on. I mean, how do you keep track and hold on to everything that's going on, and without it sort of all either running out of control, or stuff running into the sand, or you know, whatever the other options are?
I mean, it's quite challenging. I think one of the benefits from getting the kind of the programme funding from the lottery is that we were able to recruit some staff time. So we have 3 part-time members of staff who are really that outreach kind of community connection point. So they're directly working with residents, developing projects, and doing a lot of the kind of comms and awareness raising. And I think without that, it would be really tricky. I think we've tried to get the balance between it doesn't all have, Our Zero Selby has the opportunity to sort of be an umbrella and shine a light on things that we don't have to be involved in. So we've tried to kind of really celebrate what other people and organisations are doing as well as having our own projects that we sort of started from scratch. But telling the story is hard. I think you're right. You find the time and your capacity to do the doing, but you also need to share the doing, because that's how we'll get more people involved and that's how we'll build momentum. So yeah, it's quite challenging, but it's all good. It's all good fun.
Sorry, can I follow up on that? Do you see a continuing role for Yorkshire, or is the intention that the community governance structure will eventually sort of take over that role?
I think it's a good question, and I think as a sort of a steering group, we haven't started to sort of tackle those questions. I think if there's ongoing appetite and drive within the community, there's absolutely a role for sort of an enabling organisation to really foster that enthusiasm and help people develop the skills and confidence to take things forward. I think I guess what we didn't want to do was particularly sort of talking about the huge amount of work it's taken to get a library of things or a community pantry or community cafe off the ground, because they were some of the ideas that came through. And we knew that if we could end up holding lots of projects, which isn't the kind of organisation that necessarily, you know, we could be, but, you know, that's quite a big undertaking. So it's sort of getting the balance between pulling people together, equipping people with skills and confidence, and supporting them without taking on too much all at once. So I think watch this space. We're working on it hard to work out what our roles are going forwards.
Yeah, it sounds like it's still in fairly early stages, so it's yeah, well done. Sounds like a really good project. Nice to have been invited by Forum for the Future to participate in that.
Yeah, brilliant. No, it was an amazing opportunity. Definitely one we didn't want to turn down. So no, thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Any questions from anyone else?
Can I just check, did you say Forum for the Future are helping you with the monitoring your impact?
Yeah, so they were one of the initiating partners, and they'd already secured the funding for the first phase, and then we've sort of kept them on as a sort of an expert partner for this phase. And yeah, that's been really valuable having them as part of the team, especially on the kind of monitoring and evaluation and sort of some of the large infrastructure stuff. Definitely, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Anybody else?